I'm sorry.
Are you
Getting
tired?
kind of, well, it's 5 in the morning,
Oh wow.
and
Yeah,
I woke up early because I had a class today.
nice.
Yeah. So
So you really enjoy tutoring, huh?
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you enjoy it.
I like it because I can structure it however I want.
No, you
You know,
really
I think if I had to do it like structure it to a standardized set school, I would have a really hard time.
well. I mean, every child that you have, you just like you personalize, you customize it based on
Exactly.
their
On their
knowledge and
needs, yes.
interests. Yep, exactly.
And their learning style.
Makes
So
sense.
mhm.
Hell yeah. All right. So on our previous podcast, we discussed interracial dating or interracial couples as a whole and how we actually are viewed and on Black YouTube. I don't think it's
I
solely
no, it's
like
not.
it's not just on Black YouTube. I think it's like there's a lot of people of any sort of ethnicity with the level of animosity when it comes to interracial and intercultural dating.
It's like I mentioned before, it's a proxy war, but it's not just a proxy war amongst Black people. I think it's just a proxy war amongst the sexes. I don't think the race part matters in this case because it just whenever the sexes want to argue, they start pointing fingers towards that.
Yeah. Well, it's listen, right? I think it all comes down to where you fall. I mean, what type of tribe you belong to. So the type of
That's
tribe you belong
tribalism.
to, yeah, the type of tribe you belong to will actually shape your talking point. And when it comes to ammunition, what you will actually use to debate or I guess arguing with the other person.
Well, how weird does that sound? I don't want you in my tribe because you're not my gender. But how dare you go to a different racial tribe now?
Mm,
You know, because I do understand trying it staying within what you already know. There's that's natural,
yep.
you know. But I also understand why people find partners in other races
Mm,
because especially where that's very prolific in multicultural nations. If you're in a neighborhood that's got like 50 different cultures, your dating pool increases for
well, yeah,
everybody.
yeah, exactly.
That's a given. So I don't understand. I mean, you can dissect it and try and figure out conspiracy theory it if you want. You can turn anything into a conspiracy theory nowadays. But when push comes to shove, it really comes down to that: who is in your vicinity and how big is your dating pool.
Yeah, but then again, those like, why is that actually a bad thing? Because in order for people to be united, they have to integrate. When you
Well,
have
that
so many
depends.
different when
Yeah.
you have so many different factions, then what tend to occur? Like, I think this is the thing, right? When the more integration that occur, then the more of a pool that you have to compete with, as far as relationship wise, economic wise, or whatever the case. And one of the things that I tend to see is that those who are, let's say, super pro black or super anti woman or super anti male or whatever the case may be, is that
Or
they
super
cannot,
pro white.
or super pro white, yeah, or whatever ideology you subscribe to, right? If you have a dogmatic view on said ideology, is because you have failed in a major way in your life, in a personal level. So
Well,
therefore, well, it's like this, right? So the more you can restrict competition coming within
yeah,
your realm,
yes, yes.
then the more you feel like you have a shot at succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So think of it
Mhm.
this way, right? Let's say that okay, we're back in the 1800s and interracial love was prohibited, something like that, right? So then
Mhm.
if I'm not allowed to date outside of my race, right? But in my community, I did not fit with the women that was within my vicinity or whatnot, or even I lack interest in them, they lack interest in me, or what, or vice versa. So,
Or maybe there just wasn't enough.
or maybe there, yeah, exactly, or maybe there wasn't enough, or whatnot. So then, therefore, I would have been that plan B or plan C or whatever the case may be. And
Yeah.
it's also the same way with these other type of women, right? Like one of your friends, for example, right? She sound very white, right? As a black chick.
Mhm.
So she, so she get along or she actually date white guys or attracted to white guys more than she's attracted to black guys because based on her environment, her vicinity and whatnot. So then that's what, she kind of get. So then who am I to actually criticize her or, for her dating choices like that? Because it's normal, you know?
It doesn't affect your life, so.
Exactly. You know?
Mm. See, it's like for me, right?
Mm,
When I moved to the States, even though, I'm considered white, my dating pool, technically, if I wanted to stick to my own tribe, would have been Polish men.
yep.
There was very few Polish men and very few Polish women, so my dating pool would have been really small,
Mm,
right? If I
yep.
wanted to stick with that tribe. So, and I didn't want to because the dating pool of the Polish men that were there, I didn't like their personalities. A lot of them were parties and drinkers, and I didn't want that.
Mm,
I'm not saying all, I'm just saying a lot of them. So then I would have had to, regardless, venture out of my tribe to find a partner. So if I'm already venturing out of my tribe, why do I have to stick to the same race? We're not the same people. I know a lot of people like to clump. You cannot clump race together because there is such varied cultures within each race. You
mm.
cannot say a Haitian and a Nigerian are the
The
same
same
just
because
because
we're just
they
black.
say exactly the culture is completely different. Just like my Polish culture is completely different than the British culture, and we're like we're almost neighbors.
Yeah.
So if I'm already in the States and I already know I don't really want what I have available from my little tribe, I'm going to venture out, which is also natural. Okay, this is natural in people. We've been doing it since we've been hunter gatherers. Okay, so then I'm going to venture out of my little tribe circle and go further out. If I'm already out of the pond, why do I need to stick to the lake? Why can't I just go into the ocean?
Mm.
You know what
Yeah,
I
but
mean? And search for all. Sorry. Go ahead.
but the thing about it was like um I think there's also a selfish mindset that plays along with this, right? Because it's like those who actually venture out into other cultures or whatnot, right? So they were able to gain certain knowledge or certain perspective that their own tribe lack. Like, for example, me having the chance to live in England or in Poland, so then I see certain ideas or certain way things are run, and I'm looking at it this way, like, well, what if the government of Haiti were able to implement some of these ideas? How
Mhm.
would actually make Haiti become more successful? And actually, so it's like I'm thinking about it this way. Oh, it would be the same thing. Like, okay, well, my culture, even though like family is important, but as far as from a couple perspective, right? It was very, polygamistic. So
Mhm.
then, whereas in Polish culture, it's very monogamistic. So I'm
Monogamous.
able, yeah, exactly. So then I was able to see this perspective and actually see the success of it, of how, like I've seen Polish couples, like they've been together since like high school and things like that. And to see their interaction, to see how they were able to raise a family in their culture, how everything's integrated. So then, therefore, to me, it's like, well, monogamy is not a bad thing. It's like I've came to really enjoy the company of just one woman instead of like having to hop from like one chick to the next chick to the next chick, and then you think that
Well, because
women
then you're
like doing
entertaining them, right?
exactly because the thing about it is like you think you're actually making progress by the more women you sleep with, the more women you know, but is that the more women you sleep with, then is the more you have to start over from basic,
Mm-hmm.
because you never actually get past a certain layers
Mm.
and then to focus on other things.
Well, just like I think the reason you and I have two points I'd like to make, okay, if you don't mind.
Hmm.
Point one, I think the reason you and I really clicked so well from the beginning is because even though you're black and I'm white, even though you're Haitian and I'm Polish, and we were both in the States, it felt like our cultures are more matched together than either one of our cultures with American culture.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
no, it
Like
doesn't.
Haitian culture is more like Polish culture than it is like American culture. And Polish culture is more like Haitian culture than it is like American culture. So I think that's the kind of glue that put us together, which this takes me to my next point. A lot of African Americans do make the point that it's usually the immigrant black people that tend to go more into interracial relationships than the native born black African Americans,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So I think that has to do with the same exact reason that I pointed out earlier. Just like I had a very small dating pool of Polish men, you had a very small dating pool of Haitian women. So then when we have to already go out of our tribe, why do we need to stick to the same color?
Exactly.
Since our culture already has to be so dramatically different. So I think what we both ended up doing is going out so far out of our tribe until we found someone that is actually compatible with our tribe.
Mm.
And I think that's what happened. At least with us, initially, because now it's just it has nothing to do with like cultures. It's just, man, I love your personality and you're awesome, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Hey, listen,
So
man. I'm glad I was able to find your ass to match my goofiness.
and annoy the shit out of you for the rest of your life.
Hell yeah.
I think a big issue with not being able to be in long-term relationships for a lot of people is just trying to find a way of, do I really want to spend the rest of my life with this person? They don't consider that whenever they date. It's
You
never
know
for
what?
long term.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's like, okay, um, I think there's always a breaking point, right? To which if you don't reach it and then actually go past it, then you'll
A
never
crossroads.
actually, yeah, then you will never get to the other side. That's like, we survived the worst, so we can deal with anything, you know?
Yeah, it's like, as someone said that a true relation, a good relationship is the one that went through everything that's meant to break it and still
Well,
survives.
yeah, but also that brings to the point where when you have so many people that are involved in your relationship, so then
Hmm.
whenever you are about to get through that breaking point, right? So then you have so many people try to pull you apart, like, oh girl, don't take that from him, blah blah blah. Or your boys are telling you like, man, fuck this chick, man. Let's go out to the club. Let's go find some bitches and shit like
There is plenty of fish in the sea. I
that.
used to hate that.
Exactly.
Anytime I didn't. Anytime I had a friend, a female friend, if I rarely vent, but if I ever vented to a female friend and she'd be like, fuck this dude, there's so many other dudes, just drop him, I drop her
Well, yeah.
because I don't need that kind of shit. I just need you to shut up, okay? I need you to be like, yo, he ain't that bad. He's all right. Vent if you want to. We'll talk shit all you want, but then, your house is over there. You're staying the night over there. Go back home. That's the kind of friend I need.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like the people that are complaining right now, right, about there are no good men out there, there are no good women out there, and and all this back and forth, is because they had allowed other people to pull them apart, and because the American culture, right? Because let's face it, the whole dating mess, it's an American thing for the most part, or should I say, Western developed country thing,
Mhm.
right? So
Yes,
then,
because I found something similar in English too.
yeah. So then you allow other people to pull you through because it's all about everything is replaceable, right? So if everything is replaceable, so is also is your relationship. So
Yeah,
then,
because there might be, why should I settle for this one if there might be a better one over around the corner?
exactly. So then a lot of people are willing to go for the unknown for the perfect relationship, which they never know if they're ever gonna find it. And then they would actually throw away a good relationship because it didn't match their fantasy, and their single friends would then also try to persuade them to do it because misery love company.
Yes. Their
You know.
single friends sell this lifestyle of, peaches and cream. It's all wonderful and great. And, all because they need a partner in crime because they're lonely.
Oh yeah, and it's very interesting because like uh, you only have like a certain amount of chances to actually be with someone that you want,
I think so.
long
Yeah.
term. Because if you keep
Hmm.
fucking up every good relationship you've been into, right? You keep fucking it up, and sometimes over trivial matters. So
Hmm.
then, why would like those chances keep being thrown your way anyway?
You would start discarding them because you would start seeing patterns of toxicity where there is none.
Yeah, because in your mind you already create that scenario, as in like if
I've seen
these
this before.
yep, I've seen this before, or men and shit or women and shit. So then you start looking for a reason why this person isn't good, just so you could justify it in your
All
head.
because you don't want to be hurt again. Yeah.
Hmm. It's a
Which a
fear.
lot of times, what's that?
It's a fear.
Yeah, it is. It's a fear of commitment.
Yeah.
It's not a fear of fucking, which is why that continues.
Hmm.
Okay. It's not a fear of, I don't know. I just lost my train of thought. Go
The
ahead.
fear of being vulnerable.
Yeah, it is a fear of you being vulnerable. Because, at some point somebody used that vulnerability against you.
Oh yeah. But
Yeah.
the funny thing about it though is like some of those hurt happen like some of them were in high school or in college, and then they're still holding on to this thing as if like without that pain or without that bad experience, they feel like they can never actually, they don't, they become comfortable in that misery.
They let that incident that caused them to distrust people to define
Yeah.
them.
See, like I understand that prospect, right? I understand that part. But what I found quite amusing is when you have those typical type of people, they make it their sole mission to try to break other people apart because they were failures at their own relationship. And which
Well,
is
that's
which is yep, which is why like with the whole debate with the interracial and all this stuff that's been going on, I laugh at it because I've already seen through their hurt. I've already seen through that facade they try to put on, and then they try to hide behind a whole group in order to shield themselves from personal criticism.
yes. Well, not just personal criticism, right. If your entire everybody needs coping mechanisms, right? So if
Yeah,
you built your coping mechanisms around everybody is this way and everyone fails in this, it's not, you didn't fail, everyone fails. And then when you come face to face with someone that's not failing at it, you have no choice but to try and tear it apart.
well, yeah,
The
to
belief.
justify your dogmatic belief, which makes
Exactly.
sense. I get it.
Yeah, it's human. That's human nature.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. You know,
Mm.
that part is human nature. So, you know, we can fight against it, but what's the point of being angry about it? It's best to just understand it, know it when it's happening, and try to steer away from it. Whether you're trying to steer the other person away from it so they can, you know, see past it and grow out of it, or if you don't have the patience for that, you know, you steer yourself away from it.
Mm. Oh yeah, because a lot of time, like uh, they claim that they want to have a debate or whatever the case may be, but how can it be a debate when your mind's already made up anyway? There's no. It's because when
Well,
someone
your
has
mind is made up. You're trying to convince the other person that their mind isn't, you assume their mind isn't made up, so you're trying to convince
mm,
them that what you believe is the true path.
yeah, and I see it this way,
Right?
right? To me, time is the purveyor of truth.
Mhm.
So therefore, if you believe you're right, fine, you're right. Only time will tell. And that's
Yeah.
my philosophy. That is my philosophy. Like my perspective is based on my own experience as well as the knowledge I was able to acquire based on my journey.
Yeah.
However, I never claimed to have the answer, you know. So then therefore my
You can
philosophy
only share your perspective, but you cannot try and force it down someone's throat as if it's the right one.
exactly. So that's why, like, when I come across people, like, fine, whoever you choose to date, right? Whether you want to either date interracially or you want to stay with your race and whatnot. More
Because you
power
have a
to you.
big enough, you know, because you have a big enough dating pool. Yeah, why not?
Oh hell yeah, dude. There's 7 billion people on this planet, man.
No, what I mean by that is, you know, if you want to stick, like, I didn't want to compete with a whole bunch of people because I don't, you know, to me, it's like finding a partner, it shouldn't be a competition because then you're like fighting to win. But then when you get the trophy, you start realizing, well, this trophy ain't shit, you know?
Well, that's why,
So
like,
what I mean by that is if you want to, you know, if you want to, I don't want to say stick to your own kind because that sounds horrible, right? But if you
mm,
want to stick to your own tribe, well, that's fine. As long as there is enough people in that tribe in your vicinity to be for everyone. And the problem is there isn't enough people for everyone. Okay, there whether you know it's, yeah, technically we can say there is about equal you know percentage of men and women, give or take, but in reality when you're in a city there is always an odd number,
mm.
so someone's always going to stay without. So like I said in the previous video, a lot of people have this mentality that I might not want you, but you can't have anyone either. Someone else can't have you either. It's almost like the perception that our dating pool in our tribe is too small for everyone, but the ones that don't get someone need to stay within that tribe because that's the law.
Mm.
It's almost like you are forsaking that person to forever be alone, whether they want to be alone or they don't. But then you also turn around and make fun of incels. That's the part I don't understand. Is like you either accept the incels because you want them to be there in your tribe, or you allow them to venture out.
I think the whole intel thing is more of a psychological problem than it is because if it was about sex, right? If it's about sex, then that's easy. You just pay for it,
Okay, mhm.
exactly. But it goes beyond the sexual connotation. It goes like a lot of things that men, right, wants to ignore, pretending that it doesn't matter when it comes to a partnership. It's about it's about the energy, the feminine energy that is that actually that I don't know. It's like It's very fucking powerful, man. Like when you have a good woman by your side, that's like that really care for you. That nurturing aspect of things really makes a difference between when you come home frustrated or when you come home and then you have somebody that helps you diffuse the load, that attention and shit like that. So then it's easier to make it seems like it doesn't matter when it comes to men, right? Because we have that personality that we are strong, we are um whatever, we're like invincible, we're Superman and shit. But
It's in our nature to fuck everybody.
yeah, but the thing about it does like that nurturing aspect, that energy is like it is very essential when it comes to your partner. And I also think this is where the discussions come through when if you are in a relationship, that person doesn't make you feel wanted or there isn't a dynamic that
Oh,
is
that's the most loneliness you will ever feel.
exactly. So then how could you convince me to stick with my race or stick with whatever because of color? Nah. You get with someone because you really like that person, because there's a mutual benefit in being with that person. You know, it's like the element of like, okay, like I am with you not because I have to, but because I want to, and vice
Mm.
versa. You know, but what's the point of actually, being with someone when you just can't stand that person? But you know what? We're both
Well, that's
Haitians,
one
so we
hell of
have
a sacrifice you're making for the people, man.
exactly, and people that don't really care about you anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so I think whoever you choose to date, make sure you really like that person.
Mhm. Have you
Because
have you watched the? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. What was the question?
Have you watched the video from ABBA and Preach, the one they posted today?
About this dude asking this girl, do you like black men?
Hmm, hmm. You know, the way the guy sounded reminds me of a lot of the men that travel.
Yeah, it's
The way he was interviewing her is like a lot of the men who travel abroad act that way.
listen, it's not okay. No, I don't think a lot of the men that travel act that way.
No, 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 no. What I mean is the ones that are like I'm talking about the videos and the
Oh
way his
yeah, the ones that
mannerisms
are very
were.
vocal
I'm
about it.
talking
Yeah,
I'm talking about the mannerisms like the giggling and the that stuff. A lot of them that do their videos to and interview the women when they travel, they do this. They have the same exact mannerisms as he does.
Here's the funny thing, right? Which is like a whole new topic. We'll probably get on that
Hmm.
some other point. But it's like this. It's like people, the ones that you actually are the most vocal about this shit, they're
About
like
what shit?
they're about like the way they represent their the way they represent their people. Like for example, right, as a Haitian, I
Hmm.
try my best not to put Haitians in a bad light,
Hmm.
right? As far as my mannerism, the way I talk to people, the way I diffuse a
Hmm.
situation, or whatever
You
the case may
represent
be,
your
right?
people. Yeah.
I represent my people, but it seems like a lot of individual they act any type of way, but then when you criticize them, right? And then all of a sudden they want to hide behind their race, they want to hide behind their ethnicity, or they call you, oh, you're racist for pointing that out. You are sexist, or you are hating, or whatever. But it's like, dude, your behavior
Anything but yeah, I was wrong.
exactly. So there's a lot of black men that travel, right? And a lot of them don't even post half of this shit that you be seeing online.
No,
So
that's
then, but
because they don't want that shit closed.
exactly, but
No.
because of these idiots, because a lot of these idiots that actually want to, because it's all about it. At this point right now, it's all about a dick measuring contest. It's like,
Yeah,
check out
validation.
this process that I got. Be like, yeah, it didn't cost me
Mhm.
that much, but this bitch is bad. She gave me a discount because she thought I was hot, right? And shit like that.
I bet you
So,
she tells that to everybody.
mm, so then all you end up doing is now you fucking it up for other people, I
Yeah,
just want to go over there to that place, get some quick pussy, enjoying life and stuff like that,
exactly.
and then visit the places, take some pictures, and then come back home. But because
All
of these
because you wanted
idiots,
a high five from some other dudes who just finished
yeah,
masturbating.
exactly. So now all this shit now you actually now because of your idiot ass, so now they portraying every black man at the same light,
Yes, yes.
you know, and which is
That
what.
is what I did. That is what I didn't like about the bragging about what they're doing. To me, it
Mhm.
was just like, I understand it. Hey, I don't have an issue with you going, abroad, getting prostitutes, picking up women. But the more you brag about it, the more you make, people are going to start forming an opinion, and you're making you're ruining it for future black men. So
Yeah,
what you're doing is you're enjoying it, but it's a temporary enjoyment, and that's not that. I
exactly.
mean, what's the point?
Yeah, dude, white people, white men been doing this shit for years.
Mhm.
But you know what they were not doing? They were not displaying all these information.
Well, no. All right. See, all right. Let me tell you something. Okay. Let me tell you an analogy, a metaphor,
Mm,
or an analogy. Okay. In Poland, we go mushroom picking, right? We go to the forest and we pick mushrooms. You can even sell them by kilograms and make money. Some people actually make a living that way. It's hard living. It's like you're not going to get yourself out of poverty doing it. But if you have no job, no options, you go do that.
yep,
So a lot of people who live in the areas, they find a nice spot where certain mushrooms grow, and a lot of them, they're not going to tell anybody about it because
hell
that's
no.
their secret spot. They might take a close friend there, but most likely they're just not going to tell you, especially if they're earning money. Especially
Mhm.
if they're earning money for it, they're not going to tell you about it. Why? Because what happens is when other people come into that area where there is a whole lot of mushrooms, they start ripping the ground up, they start destroying it because they just see a whole lot of good pickings. And then
Yeah,
what happens? The mushroom patch starts shrinking and shrinking until a couple years later, there is no more mushrooms there. You have to find a new spot. That is what happens when you keep bragging about who you fucking abroad and how much you paid for
and that, my friend, is the end of this conversation.
it.
That was fun. How the fuck we went from interracial dating to, well, actually, kind of all related, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
So, all right, but
Well,
anyway,
it's
so
interracial dating because you're traveling abroad and you're dating. Well, you can't really date a prostitute, but whatever floats your boat.
trust me, and for these guys, a lot of time, they're
Well,
prosties.
no, something. Listen, a lot of times some women are probably not prostitutes either, but if you keep bragging about it, then they're gonna become them, and then
Mm,
the shit's gonna get shut down, and then the countries are gonna start passing laws, like the men said, I'm not gonna stop fucking the prostitutes. If the country doesn't like us being there, they should pass laws. Well, they're gonna start to.
oh yeah.
If you won't shut the fuck up. You know what? When pot was legal, and potheads would just go around and like, don't you smell nice? And everybody knew what it was about.
Well, yeah.
I didn't have to say, did you see the kind of weed I smoked? That's my dealer.
All right. So,
Anyway,
we don't
yeah.
want to keep that for too
Enough
long.
with the analogies.
So, this is fun, man. I love talking to you.
I love talking to you too.
Mm. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so our Blanca
It's serious.
and serious. So,
Yeah.
until next time, guys, share,
Bye,
like,
everyone.
comment. Oh, like I told y'all, this year, my aim is 5,000 subscribers. So, I'm relying on you to share this video on your social media platform. And
Why did I have a picture of Uncle Sam? Uncle Sam wants you. Oh,
exact,
Jesus.
yes, I want you guys to share this video. All right. And then subscribe and comment. Leave a comment. All right. Peace.
And ding that bell.
Yeah. Ding, ding, dong. God, that sounds so off key.
Uh, oh,
All
don't
right.
worry. We're not karaoke anywhere.
All All right, babe. Mwah.
All right, sweetie. Love you.
I love you too. Bye, babe.
Bye.